Welcome to Staten Island Academy of Performing Arts production of From the Ridiculous to the Sublime Part 3. The pieces were written by Joe Tarulli, who has been writing through the entire pandemic. He's been writing feverishly, and we're really proud of him. He's been writing, contributing to the company for over 20 years. Will Peters is also one of our current writers who also writes original pieces for the company. So tonight you will see 4 pieces. The first one is called Bury Me 1,000 Times. The second one is called Sin Pen. The third one is called Bit Part. And the fourth one is called Just Ordinary Things. So enjoy your popcorn, get your soda or your water, and enjoy our show. Thank you so much for coming.
Bury Me 1,000 Times by Joe Tarulli, a pandemic kid kick. Setting, hospital bed, modern times, USA. Characters, Jimmy, male in his 90s. Jenny, female in her 60s. The play opens with Jimmy lying on his deathbed. He is with his daughter, Jenny, keeping vigil at Jimmy's bedside.
I doubt that I will live to see the sunrise tomorrow morning.
The doctor told me that there's little chance of you living through the night. I don't mean to be abrupt, but I never lied to you, no matter what. And I'm not going to start now.
That's just the way I want it. I like my truth 200 proof. Besides, I lived long enough. I had a wonderful life. You will not hear a complaint from me about making room for a newborn baby.
I'm going to miss you so much. You have always been my strength when I was too weak to manage alone. When you get to your destination, please save a spot for me. We will meet in a place where we'll never have to say goodbye again, ever.
I'm proud of you and your brother. You both grabbed life by the ears and took control. The both of you have had wonderful marriages and successful careers, not to mention bringing 5 wonderful children into the world.
Speaking of my brother, he's annoyed that I have not contacted him earlier about your deteriorating health. I tried to explain that I did not call him at your instance because he would not hear it. He should be on the plane now. I hope he gets to see you alive. If you are gone when he gets here, I will feel the wrath of his anger.
Nonsense. Junior's a pussycat. He could not fight his way out of a plastic bag. So don't you worry about your brother. Tell him that his father did not see the point of disrupting his busy life for something as trivial as an old man dying. You tell him that. He'll understand.
Junior was quite devastated when I told him. Poor man probably thought that you would be here forever.
There's no such thing as forever. Everything must disappear into the mist at some point in time.
Well, you're lucky to be checking out with no regrets.
Not true. There is something that I regretted most of my life.
Mom?
Oh, not at all. I am grateful for the years that I had her in my life. I was not the most agreeable person to be with. I could have been a better husband, or I could have at least tried. I just took her for granted and let her get away from me. I understand when she wanted to leave. I also knew why. When your mom died, I felt a sorrow so great that it gave me pause. I hope that she's resting in peace. I wish that I had made my peace with her. I always wanted to ask her for forgiveness. I put it off. Now it can never be done.
Maybe you will see her again soon, and you could spill your guts.
I would suspect that I am the last person that she would ever want to see.
Dad, you're always too cynical. I'm sure that Mom would be more forgiving than you suspect. Anyway, what was that one regret that you mentioned?
This is the first time that I have ever told this story. I fought in Europe during World War II. I stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. Many men, or should I say boys, lost their lives in a horrible manner that day. I was one of the lucky ones. I made it past the artillery, mines, and machine gun fire. I was always a hardened veteran of battle. I had gained a knack for survival that comes from experience. Seeing friends made in bloody mess that once was a human body was not new to me. Let me tell you that you never really gets easier. Still, the war needed to be won. So I intended to move on. And then something happened.
You seem agitated. Relax. Let the past on a closet shelf where it belongs. Whatever might have happened does not matter anymore.
It does matter. It is something that will be pertinent to my final judgment. After breaking out from Normandy Beach, my battalion moved on to liberate the small French town of Sainte-Marie-Anglaise. We stayed put in that town for a time, and that is where I met the love of my life. When my eyes first spotted her, I just watched her go about her business. She was as a goddess, and she had this refined way of moving. It was as if she were on stage dancing in a ballet. I have seen beauty before, but I was never stopped in my tracks and mesmerized. I, for those few precious moments, had forgotten about the war. I thought of the wonders of life. I wanted to live. I was deep in hypnotic trance when I was jostled out of my stupor by one of my army buddies. He informed me that my dream woman was smiling at me. I made my move and we got to talking. We were inseparable for 2 days. It was obvious to both of us that we were deeply in love.
How come you never mentioned this woman to me before?
Because the very thought of her and what I had missed out in life set me in a deep mood of depression. I could not even force myself to say her name.
Please, tell me.
Emmanuel.
Whoa, I guess that she was some sex bot.
I thought of her as a precious work of art.
Sorry, I meant that in a good way.
When my battalion moved out to push deeper in France, Emmanuel begged me to stay. She offered to hire me until the end of the war. The army would never miss me. I would be just another MIA. I could not desert my brothers, soldiers. I reluctantly moved out with the troops.
I'm not surprised. I know that when you get involved with the cause, you have 100% dedication.
True. Then something happened. We were involved with a skirmish with a small band of Germans. We quickly wiped them out. There was this one German soldier lying on the ground, screaming from pain. His body was literally shredded by shrapnel from a grenade. The soldier was about 18 years old and crying for his mother. My battalion, who were a great bunch of guys, were laughing and mocking this poor boy. I'm sure that this unfortunate German would rather have been home and going to school. Instead, fate led him to this horrible state. I realized that my burdened buddies had resorted to behaving as a bloody, thirsty murderers. I had enough of the stench of death. I declined to desert. I decided to desert and to return to Emmanuel.
That is understandable.
It was wrong. I did return to Emmanuel, but the joy that I felt was destroyed with the pangs of the betrayal of my brothers. I left my love and set out to find my battalion. I was certain that they knew where I was. My instincts were quite accurate, and I was able to locate my battalion. The problem was that I had walked into a great disaster. They were all dead. Apparently, they were ambushed and slaughtered. I just gazed at their motionless bodies. I was as a zombie. My body was drained from all emotions. I thought perhaps that this was punishment for the way that they had mocked that poor German boy. That thought seems ludicrous to me today. All participants of war were transformed into hardcore killing machines with no compassion.
Must have been horrible. Thank goodness you did desert. It saved your life.
No, it added much to the burden of life. When I walked upon the slaughter, I heard the Germans walking away. They must have just completed their slaughter of my battalion. I could hear the laughter of the enemy as they reveled in the destruction of some wonderful men. The celebratory cries of glee faded as they walked away. I just wandered until I ran into another battalion. Nobody ever knew that I had deserted my post. I never was punished for my transgression.
I'm sorry for the loss of friends in such a horrible way.
I let the Germans walk away. I should have engaged those bastards. I would have died right there, but I could have taken a few with me.
Well, if you did die, then me and Junior would have never been born. You absolutely did the right thing. It was fate.
They say that cowards die 1,000 times. When I do pass, bury me 1,000 times.
The insurance policy will not cover that. Besides, you've proven your gallantry dozens of times during the war. You were always brave. You stood up for your beliefs and backed down to no challenge.
Tell my battalion that. I should be dead with them. Instead, my selfishness, disloyalty, and cowardice has granted me a long life. It's just not just.
Living is a good thing. You did nothing wrong. Peace with yourself. There's not much time left.
I will have eternity to deal with this. It will never go away.
Whatever happened to Emmanuelle? Did you ever see her again?
No, I promised that I would return to her when the war was over. I felt that I did not deserve the joy of ever seeing her beautiful face again.
You punished her too. That's too bad.
I received a letter from her in 1948. She tracked me here in the States.
That woman was dedicated to you.
Yes, I could tell you that there was a photo enclosed in the envelope. The photo could have been of her enticing me to return to her, or perhaps it was a shot of her with her husband. Let me know that she was doing well. I'll never know. I threw the envelope in the garbage without opening it.
Perhaps she wanted you to return. You should have gambled and read that letter. Your life might have been better.
It was fate. If I had gone to France, then you and Junior would not be here. I hear an angel beckon to take me home.
They need you with them. Go with them. Let them take you to paradise.
Paradise was France in 1944. I need to go now. Tell Junior that I am sorry that I missed him. I love you and your brother with all that I am.
Junior, I love you too. Take our love with you and hold on to it forever.
It would be nice if I had more time with you both to be a better father.
That is fine. Do not concern yourself about that. Soon your pain will come to an end.
Soon, World War II will finally be over. Nobody won. There are no winners when it comes to war. Only those who fought it know that.
Several weeks later, Jenny is on the phone.
Hi, Junior. I'm all right. I hope all is well with you. Great. Listen, I've written Dad's epitaph. I insist on paying for the engraving on the gravestone. It is something that I need to say to him. Here we go. Beneath lies the man interred. His love, compassion, tolerance, and selflessness are so big it would take 1,000 graves to hold.
Blackout.
Next, Sinpen, a pandemic kid kick. by Joe Tarulli. Modern Times, Urban USA. The play opens with Claude standing in front of a storefront in a strip mall. The store is named the O Pen Emporium. The salesman comes from the store and beckons Claude to enter.
Sir, if you are in the market for a pen, then you have come to the right place.
I'm not looking to purchase a pen. I drove 2 hours to the strip mall because my mother coveted this beautiful nativity set. It is sold in the strip mall by a store a few doors down. One of my neighbors owned such a nativity scene and showed it off to Mom. I found out that it was an exclusive product that could only be bought at the Christmas store located here. I thought that I would drive down here and get Mom an early Christmas gift. It seems that it's only sold by an advance order. I could have bought it on the internet, had it delivered, and have saved myself all of that driving.
Why so glum, my friend? Perhaps making the trip out here will prove to be quite resourceful. Here's your chance to procure yourself an incredibly special pen. It will not hurt you to look inside my store. After all, you are already here.
Oh, I have no use for a fancy pen. Those disposable pens are good enough for me.
No, we do not sell writing pens. We sell holding pens.
What? You support a business by selling pens?
Indeed, we are world-renowned. Surely you have heard of the O Pen Emporium franchise.
No, I cannot say that I have.
That is strange. We have stores and malls all over the country.
I never saw one. Whatever. I want to head home. I have a 2-hour drive.
Before you do, are you sure that you do not need a playpen for your child or a puppy pen? We have pen for full-grown dogs too, or any animal for that matter.
No, I have no pet, and my children are of adolescent age. Even if they were toddlers, my ex has full custody anyway. I live with my mother. I doubt that I could buy a parent pen. Sometimes I feel that I sure could use one.
No, we sell no parent pens, but I do have something that I know you will need. It is a discontinued model, so there are no returns. This is a great product that many a happy customer got good use from. Now, they just do not sell anymore. They're, as they say, obsolete. We have one left. I can let you have it cheap, but it is strictly a cash and carry deal.
So, you are selling an obsolete product to an antiquated man.
No, not at all. What I'm doing is accommodating a customer's needs. Give me a minute.
The salesman walks into the store and comes back out with a box.
What I have here is a sin pen. It is a pen that one goes into and imagines committing all the evil that would serve him well. It is a way for a frustrated person to blow off some steam. It is as a punching bag for the mind and spirit.
Are you saying that one contemplates committing crimes and infractions of rules in that pen?
Nobody contemplates doing anything in that pen. The person utilizing the sin pen just imagines doing the unthinkable. You can dream up anything, no matter how horrible, with impunity. That is the appeal of this product, impunity. Now, as I've said, this is the last such item in stock. You can have it for $5 cash. Assembly is simple, so do not stress it.
You know, my mother can use an enclosure to keep the neighbor's dogs away from her beloved flower bed.
Claude pulls a $5 bill from his wallet.
Here, you have a deal.
What we have is a good trade. $5 in exchange for a sin pen. Now remember, this sale is final.
The salesman gives an evil grin and retreats into the store.
Well, that was strange, but at least I have accomplished something by driving here.
Claude arrives home. He places the box with the sin pen near the front door. He is greeted by his mother, Emily.
What is in the box?
A sin pen. I bought it out of town. The salesman said that it was an closure where one goes into imagine committing sin for gain. It's a novelty thing of some sort. I plan to use it to fence your flower bed so that dog next door stays away from your prize blooms.
You brought implement for evil from the devil?
Oh, please. I'm in no mood for your overreactions. It's a harmless enclosure made from an ordinary man-made metal such as aluminum. Nothing more.
Really? Look behind you.
Claude turns around to find that the box has been opened and the pen assembled.
How?
I think that we both know how. What time for a church to be in between pastors? This house needs to be blessed immediately.
Let me give it a try.
Claude steps over the steel enclosure. He situates himself in the middle of the structure.
That crummy boss of mine has robbed me for years. I want to murder him and take from him what is rightfully mine.
Claude! Claude!
It is just a thought, a generally nice thought, but just a thought all the same. Thoughts are harmless. I can perpetrate some atrocities in my mind with impunity.
Suddenly, a car crashes and screeches as it races up the street. The car stops at Claude's house and drops something on the porch. Claude and Emily run outside. Claude and Emily run outside to see a white car drive away. There's a black garbage bag left on the porch. Claude quickly pulls the bag into the house.
Never saw a white car around here. I wonder what is in the bag.
Money, lots of it. There is no way of tracing cash. That means the money is ours.
Why would anybody throw a big bag of money on our porch?
Suddenly, Claude's cell phone rings. Claude takes the brief call and puts the phone back in his pocket.
That was a coworker of mine. He said that my boss and his family were murdered and robbed. The perpetrators stuffed the money into a black garbage bag and drove away in a white car. Not only is that horrible person dead, but the rest of the brood that enjoyed riches from my hard work have also been snuffed. The best part is that I get to keep what's rightly is my money. That feels so good.
The authorities might figure out that you have the money and you will be implicated of the crime. You must return that money.
You fool! Do you really suppose that they would believe that some anonymous person flung a garbage bag stuffed with hard cash on our porch? The cops would suspect me of being involved in the hideous crime. I did no wrong. I just had a fantasy that somehow became a sweet reality.
Right. You have no idea that such a tragedy would manifest from what you believe to be nonsense. Still, we are in possession of ill-gotten gains, and we should do good with that money. Perhaps donate it to a worthy cause.
The money is going to do good. It is going to be used to give us a better quality of life. We deserve better than what we have. Now I have found a way to see to it that we never suffer from want again.
How can you only think of yourself? Innocent children have been slaughtered for you to have that money. Have you no sorrow? Even empathy?
Who had remorse when you had to pawn your wedding ring to pay the mortgage last year? Who cared when I lost the custody of my precious children to my hateful ex-wife? The reason that she has custody and not I is because I cannot afford an attorney to represent me in a family court hearing. Nobody cares about you or me. I think it is time for a resolution. Now we will trade our former suffering for revenge.
Claude, open your eyes. You're not the same person you were only last night. That pen has drawn you into darkness. Do you realize you are being destroyed in body and soul?
Claude is defiant and once again enters the sin pen.
Claude, please do not do this again.
Allow my mother to regain her precious wedding ring from that evil proprietor of that awful pawn shop. That beast robbed my mother because she knew that my mom was desperate for money. Also release my children from the custody of my malevolent ex-wife and her dastardly new husband.
Claude's cell phone rings. It is the neighborhood Tom Crier, informing Claude that the same pawn shop had burned down, killing all the owners, staff, and many customers who were trapped in the fire.
That was busybody Bill Watson. He's informing all in this neighborhood that the pawn shop was burnt to the ground. How do you like that for quick service? I must drive there to see for myself.
Claude leaves. Claude returns. Emily is waiting for him.
I went to our church to seek help for you. The secretary said that an interim pastor was arriving today. She will leave the message for the pastor that I need immediate guidance.
Here's the ring. I drove to the scene of the fire. The building was burnt to the ground. I noticed a shiny object in some burnt debris left by the fire department. I pulled it from the rubble. Look, it is your wedding ring. Nobody saw me take it. It is once again your property. That pen has served you better than prayer.
Do not dare blaspheme to me. Was anybody hurt in the fire?
Many people perish. Nobody that you know, so I would not fret it.
And the victim's blood is smeared all over your hands. Do you know the horrors of that sin pen? The first time you utilize it, you did not stop from using it again. I just thought of something. You wish that your children to be released from the custody of Lisa and her husband. That evil way that pen works. It may take your children away from your ex. It's causing your children to die, my poor babies.
You make a good point. I must find a way to reverse that request. The salesman who sold me the pen should know how it can be done.
Claude fiddles with his cell phone. He seems disgusted.
There's no mention of an old pen emporium anywhere on the internet. This is strange. I will have to drive there. It will take me 2 hours. Hopefully, that establishment has late Saturday evening hours.
Claude leaves. Claude returns to the store where he purchased the sin pen. To his horror, he finds a long abandoned storefront. There is a police car parked nearby.
Sir, this mall is closed for the day. Please leave immediately.
I desperately need some help. I was here this morning. There was a store here. What happened to it?
Sir, this garment store has been out of business since I began my career with the force. That was over a year ago.
This was no garment store. It was a store that sold only enclosures pens.
Enclosure pens?
Pens for containing animals and play pens for children.
I have never heard of such establishment. Maybe I'm ignorant of such stores, obviously. You are mistaken. There is no such store here. Listen, we are here because we are conducting surveillance assignments. We need you to leave now, or 6 months of investigation will be down the tubes.
No, I am not mistaken. I made a purchase at this location this morning. You can ask the clerk in the Christmas shop. She will tell you that she saw me in the strip this morning.
Get into your car and vacate these premises immediately. Do it or be arrested for obstruction of justice.
You are right. I made a mistake. Bigger than you know. I realize that now.
The interim pastor is called on Emily. Emily greets and invites him in. It is the same actor who played the salesman.
I'm glad that I was able to explain the situation to you on the phone. It's nice of you to visit with me tonight.
I am always happy to help. Is that the sin pen over there that you spoke of?
Yes.
There is only one way to reverse your son's unholy request. You must go into the sin pen and make the request yourself.
That is an unholy solution.
That is the only way that a sin pen request can be reversed, is if the petitioner dies before services are rendered. If your son lives for another hour, I hate to tell you what terrible fate awaits your grandchildren. You have a decision to make. There's not much time.
You have much knowledge of how the Simpen operates. You really are not a pastor. Am I right?
You catch on much faster than your son. He should have inherited your insight.
Claude must be driving home now. If I go to that pen, I know that my son will never arrive home.
Look at the bright side. When Claude is gone, your former daughter-in-law will reconnect with you, and you will once again have your grandchildren back in your life. Also, Claude took out a life insurance policy on himself for a lot of money, and you are the sole beneficiary. You can have the money, and you save your grandchildren's life, all with impunity.
Emily steps into the sin pen.
I wish to reverse the request made to you by my son Claude. I wish Felisa to keep the custody of our children and that our entire family be spared from harm.
The screeching of tires, Claude screaming, and the car crashing.
Oh.
You did well.
One last request. I demand that this Simpen no longer grants wishes and the master of evil beside me be entrapped for eternity. May he never tempt any man to ever sin again.
He slowly sinks into the floor.
Ah, Claude! I want you to know that there are many of us still out there that dwells among men.
I know that. Still, it gives me great satisfaction to know that you are out of business forever. I've rid of mankind of you, and I did it with impunity. The other side, the holy ones will protect me from the evils others such as you are.
The pastor disappears into the floor completely. Emily cries out her son's name as she weeps. She contains her grief and walks over to the sin pen.
Oh. You're right, Claude. This pen will make wonderful enclosures for my flower bed.
Bit part, a pandemic kid kick. Setting, modern times, urban USA. Two police officers sitting in their patrol car. They are at a stakeout at a closed strip mall.
This evening's been a bust. It seems we're going to turn up empty.
If it were not for that excited guy asking about a pen store, nothing at all would have happened tonight.
I never heard of such a store that sells enclosure pens. That's kind of off the wall if you ask me. He may have seemed drunk, high, or insane. I still thought he was out of sorts.
I think that he was confused. He had this location mixed up with another one. I think that he was looking for some outlet store. I felt bad about being rude to him. What could we do? If our surveillance efforts were discovered, it would put the kibosh on our case. That would not make the captain happy. We would both be put on crossing guard duty.
It'll be sun up very soon. We might as well call it a night.
No reason to be discouraged. Maybe we'll have better luck tomorrow night.
Why were we sitting in our patrol car all night?
What?
Yes, I know we were performing a surveillance, but who were we watching?
It must be on someone who's conducting criminal activity on this property.
Is it strange that we've been on a stakeout for 6 months, but we do not know who we were watching or why? Something is amiss. What precinct do we even work for? Where do we report back to?
I guess that we go back to the station house.
Why is everything we say so generic? Why are we not going to any police station? Because there is no police station. There is no strip mall here. And we do not exist. We are characters in a story.
Have you lost it?
Do you remember joining the police force? How about ever going to school? What did you eat for breakfast?
You're right. I only have memories from when that man asked us about the store. What is going on?
We do not even have names.
Everyone has a name.
Can you tell me yours?
No.
You see, we are only characters in some sort of story. I have a feeling that we have little involvement with the story, or else we would have names. We are bit parts. The only reason for our existence is to somehow gap pieces of a plot in this small way.
Maybe we can give each other names. I'm Joan, and you can be John. Now we have established an identity. We exist.
We exist in some writer's mind. It was up to the writer to give us names. We were brought to life without being conceived or born. It seems that we will soon disappear into nothingness.
Perhaps we can exist in this world if we were created in it.
What world? We are nowhere and everywhere. There is no way to pinpoint our destination.
Why was I brought to consciousness if there was no purpose for it?
There was a purpose. Somebody needed you for a short time, only to desert you. You know, maybe if we have a reoccurring role, or if this is a series, with a little luck, if there is a sequel to the story, we will be brought back for a bigger role. Until then, I must say, it has been nice to work with you. I wish I had a real life. It would have been nice to have a career and work with nice people as you.
I want to go home to a spouse and children. I wish that there was a time that I was a child and that I could remember my childhood. We have not experienced the seasons. We never felt the chill of winter or the glee of spring mist.
It is strange. We should have disappeared by now, but we continue to exist.
Perhaps the writer is rewriting the script.
No, I doubt that.
Then we have been brought back.
I hope so. Hey, you, writer, at the word processor or computer or whatever you're writing with. Can you hear me? We love the feeling of existence. Can you write more stories about us? Let's have a romance. That would be nice. That would make a great subplot. Just imagine the stress of a co-worker affair while trying to solve crimes. You could write thousands of pages. I want to be here. And so does my partner. Think about it, please.
Your words are falling on deaf ears. I can feel it.
Listen, you talentless hack. I'm giving you great material. Why do you ignore me?
Please, you're going to piss the writer off. Let me try. John did not mean it. You see, we named ourselves. I'm Joan and he's John. You can change our names if you like. We felt it important to give ourselves an identity. I know that you think it's silly, but we want to be your friend. We can help you with the stories. I imagine that it's a lonely enterprise. You do not have to be alone anymore. We will be here for you. What do you say?
Stop begging. We must accept our fate. We are what we were created to be.
You are correct. We have no other choice. I hope that when we fade away, it's our exploits that are written about will make some notice. some noise. It's nice to be remembered after the story is read.
We'll never know.
It's for the best.
Can I kiss you?
That would divert from the story. We're partners only. We must be professional. I did not object when you were talking about having a romance with the writer because I thought it was a good ploy to convince him to keep us in his stories. It did not, so we might as well stay in character.
The story is done. There's nothing else left for us. While we're still here, this is a chance to get something out of this deal.
Why not?
They kiss.
I do wish this were a love story. I could do this forever.
Me too. It's so weird that we can feel pleasure. This is wonderful.
Maybe when characters are created, they exist in the literary world forever.
Well, the story has been finished. We are not gone. Things are looking up.
Thank you, whoever it was that created us. We truly thank you. We're going to fall in love, get hitched, and start a family.
Then we will write our own story. Our destiny will be in our hands.
We must escape from this police car.
I hope that we can manage to free ourselves.
Police officer number 1 steps out of the car.
That was easy. After all, the police car is just a thought in some writer's mind. It's an illusion.
Police officer number 2 also manages to leave the police car.
That was a piece of cake.
Let us leave this place and run before that fool writer realizes that we're gone.
Goodbye. Keep on writing forever, you fool. We are now free of your hold.
I'm sure the writer never even noticed us.
I think that the story is finished. The scripter is walking away from the laptop.
In a flash, both police officer number 1 and number 2 disappear.
Okay.
Next, Just Ordinary Things, a pandemic kid kick by Joe Tarulli. Modern day USA. The play begins with Sarah sitting at a table in Dawson's house. They're deeply involved in a discussion.
Just ordinary things are to be used. It must be kept simple.
I have no idea what you're implying.
There are no implications of anything. All that I'm saying is that it's just ordinary things that are permitted to be used. If you want the prize, when matters get complicated, all control is lost. I cannot tolerate such a fiasco. You will be disqualified, and all rewards will immediately be forfeited. Then you'll be left to mop up the mess without any assistance from us or my minions.
Okay. Let us begin anew. My name is Sarah Malone. I am answering the ad that you placed in the neighborhood paper about hiring a part-time bookkeeper. I have many years of experience keeping books, and I've worked with several individuals in small firms. Here's my resume and my references. Please know that I am abreast with all the modern bookkeeping computer programs.
I see that you dislike getting to the matter of things. You need some useless chatter to warm yourself up to the upcoming situation. Firstly, put these papers back in your bag. I am not interested in your bookkeeping skills. My name is Dawson, and I have chosen you from the hundreds of replies that I received from my ad. I could tell just by looking at your handwriting that you'd be more than happy to play my little game.
Well, I do not like where this conversation is headed. I think I should leave now. Whatever notion that you had that led you to believe that I would be an easy conquest was horribly misguided. Good day, sir.
You are the world champion of overreaction. Whatever it is that you might think that draws my interest to you is wrong. This is strictly business. I have a proposition for you. I will pay you $100 just for hitting me out. There is no obligations on your part.
Dawson pulls a $100 bill from his wallet and hands it to Sarah. She wastes no time in accepting the money.
I'm sorry. It's just that it seems that all my life men have wanted me for cheap thrill only. Beyond that, I have higher standards that those creeps give me credit for. I do believe that I was mistaking of your intentions. I want to listen what you have to offer. Please forgive my defensiveness, Mr. Dawson.
My name is Dawson. There is no Mr. or any other title or front name. I will now get to the brass task, as they say. I know all about you. Do not ask me how. That does not matter. I know that you are miserable in your current situation, and I am offering you a way out. I do understand that you have mental problems. Am I correct?
Well, Josh was a wonderful boyfriend. Our courtship was a blast. And I laughed all the way through it. So, when he proposed, how could I say no? I was so positive. I was blessed to find such a wonderful mate. I was looking forward to a future of love, happiness, and an ever-growing family. I was wrong.
Something happened?
Food. My life has been destroyed by all aspects of anything edible. After the honeymoon, he devoured anything and everything that could be bought. The weight kept getting higher and the size increased with amazing speed. And before you knew it, he was 300 pounds. Our love life ceased, as did the hope of having children. Then after consuming thousands of snack cakes, breakfasts, and 7 egg sandwich and tons of fast food, high-calorie diets, he's now 400 pounds. He's multiple health problems, and he's marooned to our living room couch. The kicker is that I refuse to feed him the foods that go beyond what we deemed healthy, nutritious, and non-fattening. The problem is a meddling mother who brings him all the fatty boy delights from every bakery, burger joint, and convenience store. The man is a grounded blimp. He's worthless to me, to the world, and unfortunately to himself. I could cry.
Sounds as if you need to go on a diet.
Me?
Yes, you need to lose 400 pounds of useless weight.
I'm not mean by nature. I begged him to get psychological help, but Humpty Dumpty refuses. What really upsets me is that his mother blames me for his dilemma. The masculine meddler insists that her son got to be human blood because he needs food to fulfill his emptiness that I put him in. What she is saying is that my presence takes away from Sonny Boy's all pleasures in life. I do not nag, berate, or harass that man in any way. I am a good spouse. Not perfect, I admit. But I give it my best whirl. The frustration is through the roof. Oh.
This is why you needed to acquire a lover. At first, it was just for physical gratification. Now you long for him to be yours to satisfy your emotional needs.
Dare you?
I am not a fool. As I stated before, I know everything there is to know about you. I have chosen you from a block of many. It must be assessed which candidates is capable of excelling to a new standard and thus most likely to succeed within my challenge.
I'm confused. What is it do you want from me?
I have a challenge for you. If you succeed, then you are free from the literal bondage that squeezes the very breath from your body. All you must do is murder the monster that entraps you. Keep it simple. You must do it with just ordinary things. You must be creative. Although knives, in some cases, guns might be considered everyday implements, they are not to be used or you are disqualified. Also, heavy objects such as lamps, fire pokers, and candle holders are strictly prohibited. Cords, wires, and anything else that can be used for a strangulation death are also not to be utilized.
Now, I know that you're insane. You are correct. If Lardo dies, I'm free from his mother's meddling crutches. The one thing that you are not mentioning is that I will be incarcerated forever.
We have you covered. If you destroy the beast with your strict adherence to our rules, we have ways of keeping all fingers from pointing at you. Your husband's demise will seem like a natural cause or a freak and terrible fatal accident.
How are you going to arrange that? Are you some sort of magic man?
I am much more than that. The magnitude of my power is great and well beyond your comprehension. I must have your full trust if we are to proceed. I reiterate, all that I promise will come to pass. Now, do you want to continue?
Yes, only because I'm desperate.
Fine. I already gave you the rules. Now comes the stipulation. The deadly deed must be done within 2 weeks, or else you lose. If you lose because you missed your deadline or change your mind, then his heftiness will outlive you. You'll be forced to live with him until the mercy of your death. You will have a long life of torture and misery. There will be no separation or divorce, no matter how much you try. The forces that I control will keep you together with him until I allow your torment to come to a cease. Oh, you will never see your lover again, nor will you ever find another one. The stakes here are quite high.
What happens if I complete my task without a hitch?
Please let me continue. I was not quite finished with my presentation. If you do murder your husband, it must be done according to the rules, or you will be arrested, convicted, and punished for your crimes. You will not enjoy my protection. The same holds true if you fail to kill him. If your husband overpowers you, or you fail to kill him, you have failed with your task. You must slay your adversary with flawless methods, using just ordinary things as weapons. That is how you win the prize of $2 million.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I'd be liberated from my marriage, plus have enough money to allow me a life of luxury.
There might be more of an award. Covering up your guilt can be quite expensive. The nature of the crime scene, the easier the cleanup. I have a budget of $250,000 for expenses and payments to my minions. If the cleanup costs more than that, it comes out of your winnings. But if there's cleanup money left over, then the cash goes to the winner. So keep it clean. Now, do you still want to play?
Can I give my answer tomorrow? I find it difficult to come with a decision without sleeping on it.
No, I need your answer now. I will not be offering you this again. If you refuse to play, I have hundreds of other candidates waiting in the wings.
I accept your challenge.
Splendid. You will murder your husband using ordinary things. You have a deadline of 2 weeks from this very moment.
1 week later, Sarah returns to Dawson.
I am quite proud of you. You have ended the life of your rotund husband without spitting a single drop of blood. You somehow managed to trick your husband into choking to death on a steel wool scouring pad. How were you able to manage that?
Well, I remember the story that my grandaunt told me when I was a child. It seems that she bit into a steel wool scouring pad while eating a piece of cake. It seemed that the pad was inadvertently dropped in the cake batter by an employee at the bakery. The pad wound up baked into the cake my great aunt brought home for an evening snack of cake and coffee. There was no harm done to her, as she did not swallow any part of the pad. The second night of the challenge, while I was still contemplating on how to finish off Fatty, I noticed that he would slide down his favorite chocolate cake down his throat. His mother would bring him that same cake every day. So I thought if I planted a large steel wool pad in the cake, then it would slide down his throat as he devoured the cake. I did a beautiful job of arranging the cake so that nobody could tell that the cake was tampered with. I served him the cake and immediately got into the shower. That way I could explain how I did not hear him gag or see him turn blue. When I got out of the bathroom, I found him dead. His face was blue. His eyes were bulging from his sockets. He had strands of steel wool in his hand as he attempted to pull out the obstruction from his mouth. Luckily, the pad separated from a large chunk, still stuck in his throat.
I love it. The cleanup was light. I only had to pay the minimum of $10,000. I arranged with my powers for the steel wool pad to match the exact brand that the bakery uses. It seems like the authorities have called your husband's death a choking accident. Bravo! You get the $2 million prize plus $240,000 leftover cleanup cash. Then there is the money from your husband's insurance policy. You will also receive a handsome sum from your lawsuit against the bakery for their negligence of allowing the steel wool to be baked into the cake.
I am finally free. I am free and rich.
Your lover will not be able to resist you now, lucky girl.
2 years later. Dawson has a young man sitting at his table.
Only ordinary things are allowed. It must be kept simple.
The man rambles on, not really understanding what Dawson just implied.
My problem is that I was fooling around with this married woman. She was a wonderful and exciting lover, and I enjoyed being with her. All I wanted was physical pleasure from her and nothing more. This woman needed it because her husband was too fat to perform. As time passed, she started to plead that she wanted to leave her husband and marry me. I wanted nothing to do with being a homewrecker. That would complicate my life. Besides, I like to play the field. I do not want to be tied down and trapped in a marriage.
You should have walked away.
I wanted to. Then this woman came into mounds of money. I wanted to share her windfall, so I agreed to marry her. The last 2 years was wonderful, being able to buy anything that I wanted. Well, lately, I've been thinking how nice it would be to have all that money for myself.
I think we can arrange for that if you are able to abide by my rules and stipulations. As I stated, keep it simple. You can just use ordinary things.
Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our show. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you for coming to see it and for listening to our wonderful actors. Joe, you did a wonderful job. Let's have everyone take a bow. Bill, take a bow. Joe, take a bow. Teresa, take a bow. Michelle, take a bow. And Will, take a bow. Great job, everybody. Thank you, audience, for coming. I appreciate it. Do you have any feedback for our actors?
Everything was great.
Thank you, Laura. It's wonderful to see you.
You too.
I love the perm.
Yeah.
All right, guys, be well.
Thank you. Thank you for coming,
Bye.
Sandy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.